elegant family, welcome again to another episode on the Winnie School of Elegance channel. Today's episode is a very interesting episode because I'm not alone. I have the beautiful, most elegant, most gorgeous Mojibad Sosanya I.
Yeah.
Girl, please forgive me.
That's okay. Pardon you.
Please go ahead. I need to get it right. Mojibad
Sosanya I.
Sosanya I.
Show, like
Sosanya I. Oh, so it's Mojibad Sosanya I.
Yeah.
Girl, how are you?
I'm good.
Finally, we're doing this.
Yeah.
She told me to write in, fill a form, send an email to her people before she would come
I
here.
will consider it 7 working days.
I'm so excited to have you here,
I am.
Moji.
So
You look so
excited.
stunning.
Thank you.
Beautiful
The
in pink.
thing going on.
We're twinning in pink because this particular episode is for the ladies. So when I was preparing for this particular episode, right, there was nobody else that I knew would do better or amazing justice to the topic other than Moji. And I'll tell you my reason why in a bit. But first of all, what are we talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about this very big, we're going to be addressing the single ladies in the house, and we're going to be answering the big question: is it possible to be a single lady and be happy, especially living as a single lady living in Nigeria? We'll be answering that big question, and then of course Moji and I will just be sharing insights on how we ourselves, because we're both single, by the way, we are single, successful ladies thriving in Lagos, Nigeria, and we'll just be giving you some insight on how we're able to do it. But before then, we'll talk about the pressures of living as a single lady in this part of the world, the challenges that we face, and just pretty much give all the insights that you need to thrive in your single years. And the reason why I chose Moji, I told her this when we were having dinner the other day, that the reason why, in fact, let me even give you guys a quick story. I met Moji. I think I first came across her from a video that she did, where she was. I think you were the one interviewing this elderly woman, and then the woman said something to you and she asked you if you were
if my friends feel comfortable with me around their husbands as a single lady.
Yeah, so that's the first question she asked. But the question she asked you that,
really happy.
Are you really happy?
Deep down your heart, are you happy?
That's what this elderly woman asked Moji, and asked her if she was truly happy being a single woman deep down inside her heart.
And I said yes. And she was like, deep down. That answer sounds very peripheral. Like, deep down, let's take a deep dive.
So it felt like Moji was like, to the woman, Moji wasn't really being honest, but it was the way Moji answered the question for me, and that was what endeared me to her. Before then, I had never met her before. I had never even seen any video about her before in the past. But the way she just articulately and very calmly and elegantly answered the woman, and she said, yes, I'm happy. Like, is there something else you want me to say? Like, do you want me to lie and say I'm not happy? And that was what endeared me to Moji. And I remember seeing the video on someone else's page, but the person tagged you, and then I went and followed you, and that was when I started following her. Then over the next few weeks, I started to watch her posts and see how she's an MC, by the way. She MCs corporate events. She does a lot. This lady, she's a powerhouse of good stuff. And so over the next couple of weeks, I started to see her posts. I started to see her do her thing on the stage and just be this beautiful, charming, like glorious. It was just everything that
at some point during this conversation, I might just lose my train of thought because when you're hyping me,
I'm not hyping you, girl. Like, I'm not hyping you. And I knew that for me personally, I knew that she was like a ray of light on my Instagram timeline. And I knew that I followed the right person. So I didn't even know when you followed me, because at some point she also followed me. And then I remember she made a post about something that I really loved, and she had this vibrant energy. I just had to repost it on my stories, and I'm like, this girl inspires me in so many ways. And that's how we got talking.
Right.
I think it was also when I posted the 1 million subscriber milestone, and then she reached out and she congratulated me. And that's how Moji and I have become friends. So I just wanted to give that backstory on how we've become friends. And then we are working on building a beautiful friendship. And so far, everything is going beautifully well. So when I was just thinking about this particular episode, I was like, Moji is definitely the lady to bring on board, just so that we can shed more light on this topic.
And she sent in her application, my team and I reviewed after careful review. We thought, why not approve this application? And come on, this. Then here I am.
Oh my God.
Nothing goes wrong. But I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's definitely a pleasure to have you, and I'm happy that you're here, and I'm sure that everyone in the Winnie School of Elegance community is happy that you're here as well. Yes. So, Moji, before we start, I think I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, like talk about who you are, how you have come here, how you've become this beautiful, loaded, high value woman that you are today in Nigeria.
So, I'm going to talk about me, especially in relation to the topic we are on plate today.
Yes.
I have journeyed through highs and lows and through different phases of my life where, I've been depressed after a heartbreak. I've been through so many things. I've been through the worst heartbreaks. I've also had good people in my life, But I feel like I had to go through all of those things to make me stronger and to realize, because sometimes you forget who you are. So sometimes I've forgotten myself.
Yeah.
I got carried away in a relationship. I felt like my identity was built on that relationship. But when it ended, or when those relationships, end at different points, you just start wondering, who exactly am I? And so it took me on a journey of rediscovering myself, because I feel like I discovered myself to an extent, but I then got sunk in that whole me and mine, the perfect couple, and I had to rebuild myself and tell myself, you're actually not your relationship.
Yeah.
You are you, without your relationship. It's good to have a good relationship, and if you don't have it, you're still you. So I love that I've become a better person for my journey. I've not also let my journey define me, even though it has helped me build better perspectives to life. But I've not let it, sink me into a hole where I'm not feeling like, oh, my life is miserable. My life is not miserable. I'm genuinely happy, going for everything. When I was young, I know that in my secondary school, what's this thing called? Gosh, they call it yearbook, but there's a different name. I can't remember the name. Where you write out what you want to be. How old was I when I was in secondary school? Maybe 14 or whatever. And I remember saying I wanted to be a broadcaster. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be the first female president of Nigeria.
That can
I
still
also
happen.
wanted to be an air hostess, because I just liked the idea of serving people and making people happy.
Oh, nice.
I'm doing my broadcasting now. I'm in media. I've done banking. I act occasionally. I have some movies on YouTube. I'm pursuing different things. I work with a lot of government agencies. So I say this to say that I'm going after everything I've always wanted. I'm single. I'm not sick. I'm not handicapped.
Just say that again.
I'm single. I'm not handicapped.
Thank you.
And I'm pursuing every single thing. If tomorrow I decide that I want to be a pilot, and I don't want to, but if I decide I will go to aviation school, I will do anything that I really want to do, anything that, is attractive to me, anything that gives me joy. I will go after everything.
Okay, but I think I have a follow-up question, right? How did you come to this mindset? Because I know that it takes a lot of self-discovery, like you have said. It takes a lot of heartbreaks, highs and lows to finally get here.
Yeah.
What was that one incident that finally brought you to this point where you say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not going to let one man somewhere continue to hurt me or stress me. I'm just going to love on myself, love on my life, and just be this whole thing I want to be. And then if the man comes along the way and I find this man, or he finds me, at what point did that happen for you?
Golden question. Let me just take you back a bit. Usually, when I experience a heartbreak, or when I go through a heartbreak, it actually fuels me to be a better person, to be more successful. And not because I'm trying to prove a point that I'm going to show you I'll be successful. It's just because that's how I handle it. I then pour myself into work, look for things to distract, and healthy distractions, really. So yes, I'm hurting, but I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to let this, because the tendency to keep, to have a pity party and keep going down, you won't realize, you just keep going down. My last major heartbreak, right, when it happened, I didn't realize that I had a friend who had been depressed, different things happened to her, and I saw her go through, she wake up, she wants to shower, and I'm thinking, why don't you shower? Why, I'm not angry at her, but just no, you need to pep talking her into just wake up, get up, let's pray. When it happened to me, I didn't even want to see water.
Oh.
I'll get credit alert and I'll be angry, like, why is somebody
What
crediting me?
this?
Like, why everything started to irritate me. But I had to tell myself because I was losing my days, my weeks, my months, my year. It wasn't up to a year, but months had passed.
Life
I
was
just
passing
a
you
shadow
by.
of myself. Like, I wasn't even available to be friends with my friends. I wasn't available to be friends with myself. And I remember it was during, I'm Christian, so I always talk about my faith every so often. I remember it was during our start of the year. We're doing this 21 days prayer fasting in church, and I was just joining, like, let's just tick the days and let's, so it won't be like when pastor says who are those that participated, I'll be able to raise my hand even though my mind wasn't really there. And then the second week, I remember I was just praying casually, just one of the prayer sessions we had, and God was reminding me how his love is the most important thing in this world. So whether I'm dating and my boyfriend washes my feet every morning, sends me flowers every 2 hours, and even if I was married and I had the best job, I made 20 million naira every week or every day, his love supersedes all of these things.
I love that.
And so it just made me, I know God loves me. We all say John 3:16, for God to love the world, and so many things that we know. God loves you. Go tell your neighbor, God loves you. God loves you.
God loves you.
You don't internalize it so much, especially when life challenges come.
Yeah.
Heartbreaks. God, that it's terrible, right? But I had to remind myself of who I was, who I am, and who God had made me to be. Because I had forgotten. I had tied my esteem, I had tied my identity, I had tied my being to that human being who had gone his own way. And I was seeing him post every day on Instagram. He was posting his own dreams. I was like, And me, I'm here wallowing in pity, in depression. So I had to, all of those things just helped me pick myself up. And I said to myself, there is no way I'm going to be down. I'm going to keep going up, and I'm going to go after every single thing. Just, remembering that, God loves me, and that's like the most significant truth in the entire world, and the most important thing also. And also see, it wasn't to spite the other person, it was just to say that I'm not going to be, I want my ex to look at me and say, wow, that girl, she's doing well. But that was not the driving force. I'm just saying that honestly, right?
Like, you want them to look and say,
I messed up. I messed up. But it wasn't like a driving force. But I also didn't want people to come back and meet me where they left me.
Yeah.
I wanted to be better for myself.
I love that.
I wanted to develop myself. I wanted to go for everything that I always wanted. If I wanted to go to the gym, everything I was doing, everything.
I love that for you. Thanks for sharing that. I think that's actually that's very good motivation to see that to see that your drive was just to ensure that people did not meet you in the same place that they left you, even though it wasn't about that, but you just wanted to keep bettering your life and developing yourself. For me, in my early 20s, like late teens and early 20s, right, I used to think, or rather I grew up with this mindset that as a woman, all I was supposed to do was grow up, get married, and have children. Girl, I'm not serious. For the longest time...
You're not joking.
Sorry, I'm not joking. Sorry. I'm not joking at all. For the longest time, I thought that my whole value and my whole existence about my life was just for me to get up, grow up, get married. In fact, at some point, I actually met a guy at some point in my life when I was in the uni. And do you know what this guy told me? He said, all this book, because I remember going to visit him one day in his he had a shop somewhere where he was selling stuff, and then he said, I was studying while he was busy working. So he came in and he said, all these books that you're reading, you know that when you're done with school, I'll just open shop for you and you will just start selling stuff, that you're not going to need all these books. And I remember at a very young, I was in my teen years then. I was like, what's this guy talking about? So I carried on with that thing that he said. The guy I'm dating will just open one shop for me when I'm done with school. I don't have to bother about anything. But that was the mindset I had as a teenager growing up in Lagos, Nigeria, up until my early 20s, when, of course, I started to get exposed, started to talk to more people, started to go to church. I became more committed to God, and it was during that time that God now started to have, God said, you see, from your year 1 to your maybe year 19 or year 20, that was for you.
Your thing.
This is now my time to now tell you that I have a purpose for your life. And that was the first time in my early 20s, that was when the first time I ever heard about the concept of a purpose-driven life. And that was after reading the book by Miles Monroe. And I was like, okay, wait, so there is more to life than just growing up as a woman, getting married and having children. There is more to this life. I was like, interesting. And that was when that was the beginning of a mindset shift for me as a woman living in Nigeria. And it's actually very sad to know that a lot of women in this part of the world still think and believe that all they are good for is just growing up into adults and getting married and having children.
Parents don't even make it easy.
They don't make it easy.
Because all they tell you when you're growing up, most of our parents, right, is it's like being in your husband's house. If you do anything, I'm going some mistake. Oh, you can't cook. How will you cook for your husband? You can't breathe. How will you breathe for your husband? You can't even lay your bed. It's how you lay your matrimonial.
She's so spot on.
And that's exactly how. And then these things are seeds that keep dropping. So if you're not able to sift it out, you might get in trouble. I just think that, that's all that you. And we're not saying that marriage is bad.
There's nothing wrong with marriage.
No, that's definitely not what we're saying. We're just saying that there's more to you.
There is more to life than marriage. There is more to your existence than just, I'm dressing good because I want a man to notice me somewhere. I'm putting on makeup because I want a man to notice me. I am going to do the BBL thing just because I want to get their attention. Like, we need to start taking the power off. I'm doing anything I'm doing because of a man, and can you start doing it for yourself? I think that's pretty much what we're saying, or we're trying to say with this episode. But again, it is actually easier said than done. And I believe that, yes, in our formative years, our parents may not have helped. But as adults, as women adults, it's actually our responsibility to now say, you know what, we decide what we want to be or what we want to do with our lives. But before a person, maybe there's someone watching, right, who still has that mindset that all they have to do or all they really want to do is get married, right? I know that there are certain pressures in society that a person maybe faces, right? That makes them just stay stuck in that mindset of, okay, I'm just doing this for a man. I have to please a man. I have to satisfy a man. I have to get married so I can please my mom, give her grandbabies before she dies and all. What is that word? Or can we talk a little bit about the pressures?
Yeah.
These pressures that these people go through that keep them stuck in that particular mindset for a very long time.
So first, let me start with Class of 2024. I don't know if you've been seeing that on Instagram. But there's a thing called Class of 2024. The engagements this year on Instagram have been... It's like no breathing space for single.
Oh, okay, single people.
People will be getting engaged, so they call themselves Class of 2024. So from January 1, we started with different gospel artists, designers doing their thing. Yeah. So it's been a lot, like back to back and I did a year challenge yesterday, and Pastor Nathaniel Bassey was saying that, I remember I prophesied kingdom marriages. So what's happening? I was like, it's your fault. You're the one who is pressuring us. But that's on a lighter note, right? Mm-hmm. I'm on Instagram. I see people getting engaged, people are getting married, people are posting introduction pictures. It doesn't make me feel anyhow. Mm-hmm. I'm in this phase of my life right now, but I'm not disadvantaged. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm very okay because I know that there are phases to everything. The people who are getting engaged now were once single people who are now transitioning into another phase of their lives. And I'm sure, I can't say for everyone, but my advice is that you enjoy and maximize your single years. Like I always say to people, you're single, you're not handicapped, you're not sick. It's not a condition. It's just a phase of life, just like how you were once a student. And then you've graduated, you've done NYSC, that service year or so, was a phase of life that you thought, oh my God, I'm posting me to Benway or any state that you didn't want. But it ended. And you then move to another, you're now working or you have your own business, you run your own organization. It's just a phase that will pass. So when you're on Instagram or on social media generally, try not to be sunk in other people's good news and joys. I mean, hold on, let me clarify that. I mean, be happy for them.
Be happy.
But don't get too carried away, and you know how you can do it. I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful, tap and move on. Then I look at it,
then you now start internalizing and start wondering.
When people post these funny comments, God, when am I a spoon? It's funny. But sometimes people actually mean it, like
it's their mindset.
Really worried. Like,
yes.
am I not serving you enough? I pay my tithe, I pay my offering, I help people, correct. I'm good to people, I'm a good woman. Like, just don't worry about all of those things.
I saw
double tap,
sorry,
and then move on. And if you can't handle it, mute blogs that are always posting wedding things. If you cannot handle it, because the people who generally go into a state of,
depression,
unhappiness when they see those things. Not because they're not even happy for the people. Just start thinking about your life. Stop comparing your journey with other people on social media. It's a major factor. And I'm telling you this for a fact. So people cannot handle it.
Now, apart from the pressures that we see on social media, we even have pressures that are coming from our parents, family members. I'm hearing people say, true story, sis. True story. Someone is saying he wants to get married. Someone who I know who's probably not ready for marriage. He wants to get married because his father says he needs to give him a grandchild before he leaves the earth.
I know. Let me tell you another thing, and I agree with you that our parents are a major contributor to these things, and then that's why people then end up in wrong marriages, because just like, I'm ready now. I'm not ready, but there's pressure. Anybody, anything.
Then you're going.
I know people who are married and unhappy, and I know people who are married and genuinely happy, right? However, most of these people who are unhappy, let me not say most, but some of them got married because of pressure. Got married because I also need to make a statement. Bella Nigeria has post me up. There are too many flings in business. Why? Yeah, because of course it's a thing. Driving and policeman stops you. They see you, you're like, oh, where your husband? Just that status change.
Another one is I'm over 30 and I'm not married. I'm like, what's this thing?
This thing happens with guys. I know someone who got married at 30 just because he wanted to get married at 30, and the marriage.
Girl,
like he's unhappy. So why are we putting ourselves under so much pressure for something that is designed to last forever?
A long time.
How about you just enjoy that current phase? Because when you then get married, there's pressure for children. Then there's pressure for...
The pressure continues you forever.
It never stops. So if you continue to succumb to the pressure, get married because you are ready and you have found the right person who matches your energy and who complements you. And you are also... Marriage is such a big deal.
Put a mic on what you're saying.
Marriage is such a big deal. Like, it's not some days that you don't even want to speak to anybody. But you're going to be in someone's space, and somebody's going to be in your space, and you're seeing each other in your rawest form. Like, in the way the person presses toothpaste, the way the person sits and put the couch, and you're in each other's faces forever. So in the time where you're able to even control your own self and just, maximize your singleness, what are you doing with those years? What are you doing? Okay, yeah, I want to marry. And the man comes now. What do you have to offer?
What do you have
you developed yourself? Do you even know yourself? Like, there's a lot to this whole marriage thing that we see. So people are so fixated on the wedding, the wedding ceremony, my gown, my dress, my makeup, my hairstyle,
and take this picture. Everybody must see that
I'm trend, but there's a lot more to that. However, your preparation stage is your single years, and so you must be prepared for that next stage. I feel like people are missing the point where we should be maximizing our single years and the singleness to prepare for that next phase. I remember I have a cousin who had said to me, I was going to get a car, my first car. She said, oh, don't buy a brand new car because no man will toast you. Hello.
The same thing they told me when I said I wanted to start living by myself. They're like, Winnie, when people come to my house, true story says, when people come to my house, especially some men and women alike, the most thing I hear is, Winifred, you're going to chase people away. You're going to chase men away.
You're going to chase the insecure people away. And that is good.
And that's on period. I'm like, why would you think that I would chase somebody away by living a particular standard of life that I really truly want to and I can afford to live it? Well, so does that mean that I'm supposed to do everything I'm doing with the mindset that there is one man somewhere that is waiting for
me? I don't want to furnish my house this way because I'm going to go to my husband's house anyways.
I think that's absolutely absurd.
That's what tomorrow holds. What if the world just ends tomorrow, and because you have deprived yourself
of all
the good things you could have, bought and afforded for yourself, and you're like just waiting, crossing your legs and just putting your life on a pause because a man is coming to marry me after all, and so I don't need to. No, go for every single thing that you want. Chase your ambitious women are so attractive. So
speaking of ambitious women, I think that's the next point we need to tackle here. But just to wrap up on this part of the pressures that we face, I think that the advice that I would give, and I would also want to give an advice to anyone who is currently facing whatever the pressure is. Maybe it's a pressure that we haven't even mentioned. Stop living life based on other people's expectations of you, or based on society's expectations of you. What you need to do for yourself is go into your room, your bedroom, or your quiet space and sit down and ask yourself certain questions. Do I know who I am? What is it about me that makes me thrive and makes me excited and makes me happy, that makes me alive? What is it? You need to find out what that thing is and start living for that thing, and stop living for the expectations that society and your family members have set for you. That's just my big advice for anyone who's undergoing pressure.
And I think it's the same for me. I'll just piggyback what you've said, of what you've said. You're single. I always say that your single years is a time for you to date yourself. And when you're dating yourself, you know yourself, you make yourself, because what do you want your partner to do for you? To know you, you want, to get to know each other, you want to go out, you want to do every single thing you want to do in a relationship. Do it for yourself. And date yourself. Know what you like. Know what makes you happy, like you said. Know what makes you tick. Know what your purpose in life is.
Find your purpose.
Just date yourself and enjoy it. I mean, and if you must have companionship, right? You have female friends, and you make yourself a good friend to people, and you also have, a good friend, and just enjoy your single years before that time comes. And if you have to log on social media for a while, please do. If you have to mute people, and it's not that you hate it, just that you can't handle it. So that means you know yourself. Do you get to say? So it's a good place to start by saying, I can't really handle this because it gets to me.
Yes.
Mute those things.
And that's okay if it gets to you. That's okay.
So because you also know yourself. So don't hide behind, and be angry at people. See how wedding dress is not even fine. Sis, focus on yourself. Know what makes you happy and what makes you slide into that phase where you're already thinking and comparing, and just gradually remove yourself from those scenarios, pretty much. And so you can cut down the pressure, because there's pressure. There is pressure.
It's definitely
But you
pressure.
can separate yourself from that pressure.
Definitely.
And define what your own standards are, and say, you know what, it's okay that I'm unmarried right now. I will get married eventually, but until then, I'm going to go for every single thing I always wanted to do with my life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so speaking of the ambitious single woman, we mentioned that earlier. I know that a lot of women, because women are doing the most these days. Women are thriving. We are taking the bull by the horn, going for what we want. One of those days, I think a lot of women are now rising up and taking ownership of their own lives instead of just depending on a man. So we see a lot of not just ambitious but successful single women who also undergo certain pressures, especially when they say, okay, I've accomplished all these things, I have all this money, now I need a man to marry, or I want to be married and settle down with a person. But we hear the struggles that they face. Oh, no man wants to, because trust me, when a woman has acquired her success by herself, she's not looking for a man to come into her life to come and make her successful anymore. She's looking for other qualities in men. But there are certain things now that she's now looking out for, and then people now start to think that, oh, she has a high standard, she's overly ambitious, and then she's saying
what, she won't be
submissive, things like that. So let's talk about the pressures that the successful woman goes through in this part of the world.
So you know how they say, you can be successful, but don't be too successful, so that you don't chase men away.
We hear that a lot.
Why they do that? They don't tell men that be successful, so that your woman is not intimidated. So why must I live my life, just all my life, trying to please a man? So first of all, I always say, don't let anybody limit you. You are the only one who can limit yourself. So man, woman, hermaphrodite, anybody. Don't let anybody limit you. So don't put that cap on yourself. Go for shatter any ceiling you're able to shatter, right? But I don't know why there's that much pressure on single women to not overachieve. Because we don't say the same thing to single men, no matter how old they are. So even if you're 40, you don't say, oh, you're 40 and I should stop achieving because you've done too much, so that let a woman catch up with you. It's just double standards for single women.
For the women.
But I always say that nobody should limit you. Like, no matter what it is, just go for whatever you want. And I think it also comes from insecurities. it's maybe 50 years ago, women will, they just say, okay, I can aspire to be an executive but not a managing director. Now we have managing directors, women who are, doing their thing and leading organizing multinationals, right? So I don't know why there's that cap. And I mean, there's that. Okay,
I feel it's because like stereotypically, like according to society and standards.
Society and those their laws.
And they are not who created these laws anyways.
And the funny thing is these things will shift. And so if you keep conforming to it, you just be shifted because you don't have your own thing. But you were saying something.
Who created this? Like that's the question.
So the WhatsApp group.
So I'm like,
roll out laws.
Do you know
women.
Do you know something? Something I would advise anybody watching today is learn to start questioning everything. Like when someone tells you this is like, for example, when they say you have to get married before you're 30, why? Why must I?
What is that 30 mark?
Why must it be 30? Why 30? I won't understand why. So with this one about the man and the woman now, I think that society just assumes or believes, or everybody has come to believe that, okay, because the man is supposed to be the sole provider, which I'm not against, right? Because he's the one that's supposed to be the sole provider, then he's the one who is supposed to be more successful than the woman. And then they also say that because this man has this thing called ego,
I was going to mention that.
Right? So he has this ego that feels threatened when a woman seems to be basking and shining in the light of her glory. And I'm like, why? I dated this guy some times ago. Like, I've dated many in this life as scums.
Yeah.
And the man asked me a question. Do you know what he asked me? He said, Winnie, with the way you're going, it looks like you're going to be such a successful woman. Tell me, how would you handle it? Or would you, very dumb, foolish question. He said, will you be able to, or I want to know how you handle things if peradventure you become more successful than I am in the future. And that was it for me. That was the question that made me say, Nana, this is not my husband. Because what on earth?
I already sense a little bit.
He was threatened. Yeah, and it wasn't just the question. It wasn't the question he asked. It was how he asked me that question. I could feel that insecurity. I could feel the fear. And I could feel like this guy was going to end up being afraid, and then
you will not start shrinking to be able to accommodate his ego. No. Don't shrink to accommodate anybody's ego. No one is asking you to be disrespectful or to be pompous or proud.
Yeah.
But we're saying that achieve all that you want to achieve, but you can't shrink to accommodate someone's ego because someone does not feel secure around you. Is not confident in his own self. I mean, I've seen some men they call gardeners, people who help you who push you even further. And that's what your partner should do.
That's what your partner should be about.
Marry a purpose partner. Someone that, you can complement his purpose and he's also complementing your purpose. Nobody is trying to bring anyone down, because I've heard of cases where people get married and when they promote you can't even take your maybe, and then it comes with the car, an official car, you can't take it home because your husband is like, no, I don't, I have this car and this is they're buying the 2024 model. Why do you have? Hey,
that's a lot of insecurities, and that's the reason.
And those signs are always there anyways. So when someone has to try to threaten your success, right, or is already threatened by your success, nah.
I think that's actually a very big flag, a very big red flag to look out for. So please, if you're a woman who is ambitious, you have no reason to pull down or pull back or pedal back on your ambition. Achieve all the things you want to achieve. And let me tell you the truth. The most important thing on earth, for me, I've come to realize, is the fulfillment of one's purpose.
Yes.
When all is said and done on this earth, when we go back to meet the person who sent us, no questions will be asked about who your husband or your wife was. No question will be asked about who your children were. Those things are good, they're nice. Family is actually very important. And if you can birth family and create a family from yourself with a partner who is kind and loving and all of that, that's beautiful. But it doesn't make any sense if you decide to join yourself with someone who literally cuts down your lifespan just because there's always headaches and troubles.
And some people have missed their purpose in life because they married
the wrong person.
That's why I said you must marry a purpose partner, someone that both of you can work together. Not like you're afraid to dream. You're now, there's always a problem. It's not even conducive for you to think or be creative, and you can't get new ideas. And even if you have ideas, it chokes everything, choke, talks it down, emotionally abuses you. And so you're now thinking, who am I? You're now reduced to nothing because you're living or married to someone who doesn't see you for who you truly are. And I think these are things to watch out for. And so even though there's a lot of pressure from society, from family, from even friends, because I remember walking into my former place of work one time, I went to host an event, I was looking really good, and I saw this girl, I knew, I see so myself, and I saw this girl, I hadn't seen her anywhere, we worked, she was my colleague, and she just got married maybe a year, she also got married, after 30, because society says you're late, but after 30, I saw she was like, Moji, how are you? How far that thing? When are you going to do it? I was like, which thing? I was so angry. She was like, when are we coming to eat rice? I was like, look at this auntie that just got married 1 year ago. He's now putting me under pressure. You're not even saying, oh, your hostel is very well, you look so lovely. No compliments, no nothing. Went straight. You don't even know if I'm feeling okay. You don't even know if I just got heartbroken yesterday. And the first thing you're saying to me after not seeing me for over a year is, how far now? As in, we're not even on that level to be asking me about marriage.
That's so insensitive.
There's pressure everywhere. But you must know yourself enough to know that I'm not going to make any mistakes because people are putting me under pressure. Nobody will make me choose a wrong partner or settle. You can't afford to settle. Marriage is forever. However, in preparation for that forever, just maximize your single years. Like, everything. If you want to travel, even if you cannot afford the big travel around the country, go to
have a full life.
Then take retreats, go to the beach,
have a full life.
Go and eat out. Anything you want to do, just do it. If you want to go and watch a movie with your friends or by yourself, just go.
Have a full life.
Do everything you want to do. If you want to apply to jobs, and even if they turn it down, still apply. Like, just know that when I'm getting married, I've ticked all those boxes. I'm like, oh, I've done that, done that, been there, done that, right? And you're getting married as a whole complete person.
I think what Moji is pretty much just trying to say is, like, don't put your life on hold, and don't think that your whole existence is because you were born to be married. You have a whole life to live. The whole world is waiting for you to thrive. Meanwhile, you are there waiting for one man to come and meet you. And then you are there waiting for one particular type of man. You have your standards in your head. This man is this, should be this and this. When that man eventually comes to meet you, he might not even like the version of you that you are. Because you have put your whole life on hold and didn't do anything when it comes to self-development, learning how to carry yourself with grace, learning how to be more confident, well-spoken. Men are looking for high-value women out there. If you didn't know.
Yes.
Men find women like Moji and I more attractive than a woman. The other day, I was in the car going to check out a property with a friend of mine, and he received this phone call. I'm sorry, I have to say this story. He received this phone call. Apparently, he goes to the gym, and some girl at the gym that morning met with him, and he was paying for a smoothie. Right, for his smoothie. So the girl walks out to where he was buying the smoothie, and she was like, oh, I want a smoothie as well. So the guy was like, okay, just give her whatever she wants. So because he said give her whatever she wants, she was like, okay, I want smoothie, I want wrap, and I want all of that. So the man said, give her whatever she wants and put it on my bill. So he left. So the lady who was selling the smoothie and stuff called him to say, oh, this lady took smoothie, she took wrap, she took everything. And the man was like, no, she only said she wanted a smoothie. Anything else she asked for after that is on her. Do you know what the guy said after he dropped the call? The guy was like, this girl is just so broke. This girl is just so broke. To think that I was actually even thinking about asking her out on a date. In fact, what kind of brokenness mentality is that? And he said that with so much irritation, and it was very annoyed. So you can imagine how I felt when I heard him say that. And girls, please.
Ruined her chances because she couldn't help but be hungry and not know how to behave.
I mean, please be ambitious, go make your own money, have something doing with your life. Like, live life to the fullest. The person God has for you will meet you where you are when the time is right. So, moving right along to the next part of this, I have one big question that I want us to answer. In fact, I have two big questions that we're going to be answering. The first one is it possible for a single woman to be happily single?
One word answer. Yes. It's very possible. It's very well
I
said.
think happiness at the end of the day is just what you define it to be.
What you make of.
What is happiness to you? Do it. And to be honest, there are actually ladies who are single. Well, when I say single, we're talking about people who are unmarried.
Yes.
So a single person may be in a relationship with someone. She may have a companion already that she's dating, or she may not even just have anybody. I dare say that it's absolutely possible to be happy in that phase of your life. Happiness is what you make of it and what you choose to make of it. What is happy for you? What is happy to you? Do you, okay? For me, I know that I'm very, I'm thrivingly happy. In fact, I was telling Moji the other day that I'm too comfortable being single. Like, I love being single. I love it. And this is not me faking anything. I genuinely love being single. And I was telling her that sometimes when I think about the fact that I'm going to be married, because there's someone there and I'm going to be married soon. When I think about that, I'm like, am I sure I'm ready? I have this jitters. Like, am I sure I'm ready? So yeah, I'm genuinely happy. Moji is genuinely happy.
I am. I promise you, I'm not even faking it. I love going to weddings. Weddings are my happy place because, I don't go to clubs, but weddings are like, mini clubs where you can have fun with your friends, eat, dance, party. And I'm happy for the couple. I'm not angry at them. I'm making the most of my single years, for when I'm married, and I'm like, I look back, I'm like, I maximized my single life. So,
please find your happiness, okay?
Create your own sunshine, create your own role.
I love that.
With whatever you have.
I love that.
There's probably 100 things going well in your life, so don't focus on this one that has not happened yet. And does not mean you won't. And I always say there's no shame in singleness. There's no shame in desiring marriage. You can desire to be married, but until it comes, dance in the rain, enjoy it. Just be happy, relieve. Like, don't tie the word to your chest.
Enjoy it.
And happy. Just be happy.
Be happy.
Because I'm unmarried and I'm very, very, very happy.
And happiness attracts good things to your life. Yes. Imagine you are just there sad. One day your husband is passing you by, but you're just there sad. Mopey. He can't even approach because you're not happy. Men also read body language. So you need to be happy, and happiness actually shows it's an outside job.
Exactly. No matter how you try to fake it, you must. I think it's primarily just loving yourself. Once you love yourself,
genuinely,
there's nothing else that can make you feel underloved. Once you know that there's someone who loves you, which is God, and then you also just enjoy and bask in that
love
yourself, such that you become so attractive to people because you're just a joyful person, happy. You're not letting your circumstance, even though it's not but you're not letting it define you. Like, I'm single, I'm just lonely, I'm miserable. Don't be.
It's
you
not
don't
a
have
sickness.
To be miserable. It's not.
Okay.
That's our message today.
Second big question, and this one I think this one is actually very I'm sure it is a bit controversial, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Is it compulsory for every woman to be married?
It's a big question, really. I think if I say there are no gray areas in life and it's yes and no, black or white, but it's not compulsory. It's not. From my own perspective, you can have yours. She'll probably have hers, but from my own perspective, it's not compulsory for every woman to be married.
From my perspective, I agree with Moji. It's not compulsory. And I would always go back to the Bible and quote Apostle Paul, right? Apostle Paul literally did his life, even though he was a man. In fact, he was a man. And he said he literally lived his life and did his purpose on earth saying, I'm staying single, guys. Like, marriage comes with its own problems. I'm not interested. And he says, I wish everybody would be like me. Like, be like me and stay single. So, and I know a lot of women who have chosen to be single.
Yeah.
Some women are actually also have chosen not to have children.
Yeah.
And because they have decided that they won't have children, they find men that want children, and that's a deal breaker. Mm-hmm. So for them, it's like, I'm just going to stay single and enjoy my life. So I think that it's okay if you decide and choose to stay single. Mm-hmm. Just that I know that sometimes, again, like that woman who came to you and was asking you if you're truly happy.
People question.
Society now starts to question you. But if you know who you are confident in yourself.
And that's why I was able to, handle that conversation. Because I wasn't trying to prove too much. if it was that I was second guessing, am I really happy? When I start fighting,
Yes.
but I'm happy. No, I wasn't trying to overprove anything. I wanted to convince her and challenge the status quo and the mindset that you are single and miserable. No, there are people who are single and building multi-million-dollar businesses. I mean, like there are people who are single and have, all the time, and that's, and I always say that this is the time to actually find yourself, discover yourself, go after all your dreams, and make sure that you're building. You know how they say, I saw a quote or something that says you're the most constant person in your life and in your journey.
Just you.
So invest in yourself, love on yourself, find yourself, beautify yourself. Just do things that make you happy and things that make you glow, and then glow.
And then the right person will find you. Recently on TikTok, right, there's been this trend of women in their 40s, 50s coming out to say, like, my heart breaks for those women who come out to say that they didn't live their lives when they were single because they thought all life was about was marriage. They eventually got married, and now they are looking out at the single ladies and hoping and wishing that they actually lived their lives while they were single, because they have lost a big part of themselves.
Different conversation, because if I start to say the things of my,
there is a lot.
Don't waste your days, your weeks, your months, your years. Don't.
There was a particular story that I almost cried, and the woman, and this actually, when the woman said it, a lot of people now started making stories around it. This woman got married, like she got her heart desire, got married, gave up her career, gave up herself, and became a stay-at-home wife to her husband, taking care of the children. Eventually, along the way, what happened? Something happened in the marriage. They had to go their separate ways. This woman was left with 0.00 business, no job, nothing. The man left her, and in less than a year got married to another woman, and she was saddled with the responsibility of taking care of 4 children with no job, with nothing. Yes, I know they pay child support and all of that, but she said at her age, I think she was 46 when it happened, she was asking herself, how does she start all over? Because she wasted her whole life, gave up herself, all in the name of this thing called marriage. My dear ladies, my dear single ladies, please. No one is saying marriage is bad. Marriage is absolutely beautiful when you're doing it with the right person. Desire it.
When it comes,
build yourself.
Invest in yourself.
Build yourself.
Focus on yourself.
Build yourself. Okay, so babes, we have talked a lot about the singleness, and I'm sure people watching, I hope you ladies are getting an idea of what we're talking about. So moving right along. There are single ladies watching right now, and they're like, okay, Moji, Winifred, we heard you. Okay, we're not going to make our lives all about the guys anymore. We're going to take back control of our lives, and okay, what should we be doing? What do you want us to be doing now? I know we've touched on it, but I want us to just, let's just hit it on the head and just give them pointers on what exactly you must be doing with your life as a single lady.
So I think primarily you should be investing in yourself, not just for your partner, but for yourself. So invest in yourself for yourself. Find yourself for yourself. Rediscover yourself, because there's some things that I said I would never do maybe 3 years ago, and I'm like, I'm doing them now, right? So it's okay to rediscover yourself. Just get to know yourself some more. Date yourself.
Teach yourself.
Which ask yourself the right questions. What things do I like? What things put me off? What things do I want to achieve? Write those things down and go after them. So you're investing in yourself. You're dating yourself. You are loving yourself. It's the most important thing. And make sure you're a happy person. And don't feel like a part of you is missing. You're just living your life, and I always say this, that when marriage eventually happens, let it be 2 whole people. So not I'm half a person and half a person. I know we say my better half and stuff, but no, in the real sense, 2 whole people coming together to form one happy, wholesome marriage. So you're investing in yourself, learning, developing new skills, traveling if you can, just doing the things that make you happy. So date yourself, love yourself, invest in yourself, rediscover yourself, find yourself, know yourself. I think I've said 1 million things.
I think that Moji has hit the nail on the head. You literally have to see life as it's me versus me versus me. So me against the world. Right now, it's all about you. Get to the highest level of your self-development.
Yeah.
Get to the highest level, the highest peak of self-awareness. Don't stop for anything. Don't stop for anyone, and just keep achieving and keep going. And apart from even the areas of discovering your purpose and achievement, find things that you like to do and start doing them.
Yeah.
Like Moji said, date yourself. There was a video I put out a couple of months ago about the 5 different love languages, how to apply it to your own self. Quality time, spend it with yourself.
Yeah, like just
Gift giving, give yourself the gift. Stop waiting for somebody to give it to you. Go and buy yourself a gift. Take yourself out. Do acts of service for yourself.
yeah. The affirmations, please, very affirm yourself, reaffirm yourself, reaffirm yourself, then I do it sometimes. Let me be honest with you. We're saying, oh yeah, go for it. Some days I feel like I'm not good enough. When maybe a client comes back, maybe we're already signed a deal, and then I say, we're changing our mind, and they go for someone else. That's the question. I'm not.
Was it about me?
But you know what? I immediately I don't let those kind of things stay long in my head. I'll feel bad. I'll feel sorry. Like, oh man. But I'm like, nope. I am good enough.
You allow yourself 5 minutes of pity party.
So we're not saying don't feel emotions. Feel the emotions.
Feel it.
But don't dwell on it. And don't sink. Don't sink. There may different issues will come. Tomorrow something will still annoy me and I might cry. And that's okay. But I will not allow myself sink. So keep reaffirming and telling yourself that you are the value, because you are the prize, girl. You are the prize. So don't ever. In fact, I remember you have to start telling me. So like when I had my last major breakup, when it was a big thing, and I was all over the place, down, depressed, a pastor who was like our accountability partner called me and said, "What is wrong with you? That you were treating this guy like he was the prize." And that, as in, he was so blunt and went straight. Like he said, "You are the prize. Like, have you looked at yourself? Like, you have so much value to give." And so you have to keep reminding yourself that you are the prize and you are the value. So don't let anybody make you feel lesser than who you really, really and truly are. But you must know that for yourself. Before you must believe in yourself.
Do you know who has a lot more to lose when marriage goes south? It's the freaking women. You give birth, your body has just turned into something else. You can't get your body back. You've given birth to this fortune.
Mother. Why is mother not at the PTA meeting? Why is mother not this? Why is the child the mother?
Apart from that, your body, your natural body, once you give birth, it doesn't become the same way. Now this man divorces you. 1 year after, he's already living his life with another hot mama. And then you are still there taking care of. There's nothing wrong in being a mother. I mean, I've never experienced it, but those who have experienced it say it's an amazing job.
It's a beautiful thing.
There's nothing wrong in it, but you have to first live for yourself.
So you must feel the other places so that there's no void.
There's no void.
You must fill up so that at least no matter what happens, you have things to fall back to. You have yourself, because you've developed yourself, you loved yourself, you believe so much in yourself that no matter who walks away or who doesn't walk away or who chooses to stay or who doesn't choose to stay,
your life continues.
You know that regardless, you are still the prize and you have the value. The prize, yeah.
Don't throw away your girlfriends. This is also a time where you need to build quality relationships with your fellow gender. It's so important because there are some things that you are telling your partner or men they can't understand.
Yep.
A woman would understand you faster, and that's why I actually also filmed an episode where I talked about how to develop healthy friendships. I know in a world where people say it's hard to have female friendships, I believe that it's not hard if you are very intentional about it.
And be careful what you're looking for, because I feel like people are looking for the Instagram perfect
superficial
friendship, like me, my bestie.
No.
Genuine.
No. So, like Moji has said, find your purpose, find yourself, date yourself, love yourself, find other interests that you can plunge yourself into. Have friends, stay connected to the world. Life is not just about marriage.
Sure, go and hear the word of God.
Go and pray, Badura.
And after all of these things, rest. I think we can't overemphasize that, and you must rest. Take some time off. Sometimes just don't do anything. Just rest. Play music. Watch it. Just shut down. I shut down from the world sometimes. Like just social media.
I said when I'm at happiest. When I'm at the happiest in my life is when I'm all by myself in my house. There is no noise, there's nobody around me, and I'm just there by myself, listening to very calm.
And you enjoy your own.
I love myself.
Can't be alone. Like they can't enjoy their own company, and it's not a good thing.
I
Because
love
even in
myself.
marriage, you must also still learn, no matter how doting, caring, present your partner is, you must still learn to enjoy your own company,
Yourself.
enjoy yourself. Yeah.
So go on. At this is the time where you start learning to be by yourself and learning to love yourself as well. Oh my God, we did justice to this girl.
I think so. If we say so ourselves, but I think so.
The final point, and I think that this one is one that we actually need to touch on, because it's actually the reality of some people, and it's simple. What would the young single people do if the one doesn't find them? If after all is said and done, we have said love yourselves, but you're still aspiring to be married, you won't marry yourself, right? A man has to find you to love you and then say, I want to marry you. Unfortunately, it's the man that asks, even though society is saying women should start asking. Don't do that. Don't do that. So the man still has to ask. In a situation where there's no one coming, what happens?
Like you asked, if the one doesn't find you, my darling, find yourself and live your best life responsibly. Find yourself, live your best life responsibly, and enjoy the rest of your years. Enjoy it. Create your sunshine, create your happiness, and
I always say that life is not so hard.
It's not.
And just have your priorities right.
Yeah.
I think that's just it. Have your priorities right. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't end up getting married.
Yeah, and just change your perspective.
Change it.
I think we have just fixed, like, once you've done this, you must, as in we put that, you must get married.
Life is a lot. Life is in many, many circles. Marriage is not for everyone. I'm not discouraging you from getting married. Get married, please.
Desire it
if you want. But if it doesn't happen,
it's not happening yet, don't fold your legs, fold your hands and sit and wait. No. Go out and enjoy yourself responsibly. We're not asking you to be irresponsible here. We're saying just live your life, find yourself, just find female friendships. Please. Go to a foundation and help orphans. I
was gonna say,
many things to be done.
If you want to have a child, so like you really want a child, there are many children who
need parents.
There are many orphans who need guardians. Like for real. Find that person in your church, that little baby who needs a mother in your church. Go to an orphanage and adopt one if you can afford to.
All that love on the person,
I'm like, it's really not a do or die out there. It's not a do or die.
They're the ones who make it feel so hard, and society also makes back to society again. You have to learn to shun some things out of your ears, your mind, and your body and system, just so that you don't get sunk in what society wants you to do. If the person does not come, if you have not found the person you don't want, I know one of my big sisters, she's 40 something, she's not married, and she's happy. She says, I don't have a child, I've never been married, but I'm happy and I'm not going to settle.
That's just the word.
Jeopardy for you
to not settle.
Be late.
Yeah.
There's nothing called lateness. Please, you're not late. But according to society, they say, there's calendar, you're late. But don't now
wait all that time
and then
wait.
Go and marry wrong. That's just a waste of everything.
It doesn't make any sense. I think that's pretty much all. This topic can really truly never be exhausted. Yeah. These conversations need to be had. Have these conversations with your sisters, with your aunties, even with the men in your lives. Like, let's start having these conversations and let's us break ourselves free from this stereotype that society is trying to keep us in. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you as a woman if you are not married.
And don't let anybody make you feel incomplete, because I did post sometimes what I was saying, that's not true. You can never be complete until you marry. Until you get married.
That's a lie.
And I was like, I won't reply this person because this person is looking for trouble, and I
saw that comment.
You can never be complete until. My dear, don't be walking around feeling like you are a part of his missing. You are complete and whole.
You are a complete
Just make sure you feel whole within yourself.
Girl, I think we have done justice to this topic. We said it all. We have said it. We deserve a hug. Thank you so much for being. You are truly amazing, and I'm so glad that you were on this couch to have this discussion. And we hope that if you're a single lady out there watching, this episode has helped you at least throw some perspective or light into the pressures that you're facing, and has actually reduced the weight of that pressure or the burden of that pressure. No need to feel pressured, okay?
And has challenged you or inspired you to be a better person for yourself.
For yourself. Mojibad is also on YouTube. She's there as Mojibad Sosanya, and she shares all things lifestyle, travel,
media, everything.
Dating tips. There's an episode where they served her breakfast. Go and watch that episode to see how she overcame and navigated that breakfast and got back control of her life. She's also on Instagram. Are you?
Yes, Mojibad Show on Twitter. Mojibad Show.
Okay. This lady is the perfect role model for anyone who is looking for someone to look up to. So no, seriously, you inspire me, girl.
You inspire me.
You inspire me greatly, and I'm so glad I have you as a friend.
So
alrighty, that's all we have for you for today's episode. I will see you next time, hopefully with another episode. Mojibade will definitely be back on the couch, and we'll keep having these conversations. Until we see you again, remember to stay very elegant. Take care.